Upon a time, in a faraway kingdom surrounded by tall mountains and endless forests, there lived a young princess named Elara. To the world outside, she was the daughter of the mighty King Aldrich and Queen Seraphina, known for their wealth, armies, and glorious palace. But behind the golden walls, Elara carried a heart heavy with loneliness, something no jewels or crowns could heal. Elara had been born into luxury silk gowns, crystal chandeliers, and endless halls of marble. Servants bowed at her every step, and guards ensured no harm ever touched her. Yet, she had never known freedom, nor had she ever known what it truly meant to be loved for who she was, not for what title she carried. Her parents, though respected rulers, were distant. The king spent most of his days in council meetings, wars, and political affairs. The queen, though kind, was often more concerned with appearances and courtly duties than with the feelings of her daughter. Thus, the young princess grew up wandering the palace gardens alone, talking only to birds, butterflies, and the gentle wind that carried her secrets. One spring morning, Elara wandered into the royal gardens, wearing a soft blue dress that trailed behind her like water. The gardens were her only safe place. The roses, lilies, and violets were like her silent friends. She sat by the marble fountain, dipped her hand in the cool water, and whispered softly, "Do you think someone will ever see me for who I am? Not for the crown, not for the palace, but for me?" Her words were carried away by the breeze, but someone, somewhere, heard them. For beyond the palace walls, in the nearby village, lived a young man named Adrian. He was not born of royalty, nor did he possess treasures or titles. He was the son of a craftsman, known for his kind heart and hard-working nature. He often came near the palace to sell wooden carvings. What Elara did not know was that Adrian had often seen her from a distance in the garden, and though they had never spoken, her sad eyes had etched themselves into his soul. One afternoon, fate played its first card. Elara, tired of the endless royal dinners and rules, slipped out of the palace gates disguised in a simple cloak. She longed to walk among the people, to breathe the same air as they did, to feel alive. The marketplace was buzzing, children laughing, merchants shouting, colors and aromas filling the streets. For the first time, Elara felt free, but as she walked, her foot slipped on a stone, and she almost fell. A strong hand caught her just in time. It was Adrian. Their eyes met for the first time. His was warm, steady, and filled with kindness. Hers were deep, filled with secrets untold. "Careful there," Adrian said gently, steadying her. "Thank you," Elara whispered, her voice soft like a song. For a moment, the world stopped. Neither knew the other's identity. Adrian only saw a simple girl in a cloak, and Elara only saw a kind stranger who did not bow, who did not treat her like a fragile ornament. Days turned into weeks, and Elara found herself sneaking out more often, always meeting Adrian in the marketplace or the quiet corners of the village. They spoke for hours about dreams, about the stars, about the meaning of freedom. Adrian told her about his dream of building a small workshop where he could craft beautiful things not for gold, but for joy. Elara told him about her cage-like palace, her loneliness, her longing to be more than just a symbol. One evening, as they sat under the lantern-lit sky, Adrian said, "You're not like the others. There's something in your eyes, a story untold. Whoever you truly are, you carry a heart that deserves to be free." Elara's eyes welled with tears, for it was the first time someone had seen her not as a princess, but as a person. Secrets cannot remain hidden forever. One fateful day, Adrian followed her back unknowingly, and for the first time, he saw her enter the palace gates. Shock consumed him. She was the princess. The girl he had spoken to, laughed with, and dreamed with. She was royalty. Conflicted, Adrian stopped meeting her. How could a craftsman ever belong to a princess? His heart ached, but he withdrew, convinced that her world and his were galaxies apart. Elara noticed his absence, and her heart shattered. The palace felt emptier than ever. She would sit by the fountain, whispering, "Why did you leave me, Adrian?" But the wind carried no answers. Meanwhile, inside the palace, King Aldrich had already planned Elara's future. A marriage alliance with Prince Cassian of a neighboring kingdom was arranged. To the king, it was not about love, it was about power, trade, and armies. Elara felt suffocated. The thought of marrying a stranger for politics crushed her soul. She tried to speak to her parents, but her voice was drowned in duty and tradition. On the night of the grand ball, where her engagement was to be announced, Elara stood in her glittering gown, her crown heavy upon her head. Hundreds of nobles applauded. Music filled the air, but inside her heart was breaking. As the king raised his hand to declare her future, Elara suddenly felt the world closing in. She looked around desperately, her eyes searching. And there, in the crowd of servants, stood Adrian. In that moment, Elara had a choice: to remain the obedient princess trapped in a golden cage, or to risk everything for the freedom of her heart. She stepped forward, her voice trembling yet strong. "Father, forgive me, but I cannot marry Prince Cassian. My heart belongs elsewhere." The hall gasped. The king's face turned pale with fury. The queen dropped her fan in shock. Prince Cassian's pride burned with humiliation. And Adrian, his eyes widened, torn between love and fear. The silence was deafening.